In this video, we are exploring the new multiplayer battlegroup for US forces, named Advanced Infantry, and this is CoH Community Expert Tightrope here to break it down for you. One half of Advanced Infantry grants you access to ranges, and provides support to use your infantry aggressively. The other half offers a variety of powerful artillery options, and combining both halves in an attack can lead to devastating results. Starting with the Infantry Operations side of the battlegroup first, there we have Convert to Ranger. For 200 manpower, you select one of your rifleman squads in connected friendly territory, and they instantaneously become a ranger. Alternatively, you can train rangers straight from the barracks for 450 manpower. Either way you get them, they will take up 11 population, which is 4 more than riflemen. Rangers have more health than a rifleman, and trade out the Garand rifles for Thompson submachine guns. In this form, they are the kings of close range engagements, dominating Wehrmacht Panzergrenadiers and having a narrow edge over Guastatori. Rangers have a unique trait, allowing them to utilize up to 6 slot weapons, where most other squads can only handle 2. To fill those slots for 100 munitions, Rangers can call in a weapon crate airdrop. Opening the crate gives 2 random weapons from a pool of 4, containing the bazooka, bar, flamethrower, and M1919. This can allow for some extremely strong weapon combinations. And remember, in CoH 3, slot weapons do not drop until the entire squad gets wiped, relieving some of the worries of these weapons falling into enemy hands. Also, the Rangers have a passive called Ranger Weapon Mobility, which allows them to fire on the move with any weapon, including bazookas and flamethrowers. Rangers have the same short fuse cooked frag grenade as paratroopers, but be aware that grenades have been buffed in patch 1.40. Now this does 120 damage, with the damage cap increased from 3 to 4. And for their Vet 1 bonus, you have the choice between Steady Aim, where the Ranger has 17% increased accuracy while firing on the move, or Cover to Cover. Now the Ranger takes 15% less damage when in cover, and gets a 50% speed buff and suppression resistance for 4 seconds upon exiting cover. Midway down Infantry Operations is the choice between Frontline Medical Station and Designate Assault Position. For 200 manpower and 25 fuel, you can auto-construct a Frontline Medical Station in connected friendly territory. It provides healing, reinforcement, and casualty clearing. On top of that, you can activate a forward retreat point on the Frontline Medical Station to shorten your infantry retreat times. Though be aware that reinforcement times are much slower when squads are more than 45 range away from the headquarters building. Designate Assault Position costs 80 munitions and covers a 40 radius area for a 50-second duration. 5 seconds after activation, your infantry inside the zone starts moving much faster, and they can fire while moving at that speed, unlike with most other infantry sprint abilities where firing is disabled. Designate Assault Position also provides a 30% received accuracy bonus, making infantry harder to hit, but in return there is also a 30% range penalty, so your squads will need to get closer to the enemy in order to fire. These bonuses also apply to retreating units, but not to your teammates' units. The final tier of Infantry Operations gives the choice between Ranger Weapon Training and Infantry Assault. Ranger Weapon Training gives their weaponry bonus effects. The flamethrower reduces the move speed of vehicles and infantry by 25% for 5 seconds. The bazooka reduces vehicle rate of fire by 20% for 5 seconds. The M1919 reduces the accuracy of infantry by 15% for 5 seconds. And both the Bar and Thompson suppress infantry at close range. These debuffs do not stack on enemy units, so equipping loads of one weapon type onto a ranger may not be the most effective option. Infantry Assault costs 120 munitions. When activated, 3 riflemen and 2 bazooka squads are deployed at base and sprint to the targeted point. These squads cannot be controlled by the player and will engage any enemies they encounter en route. Once they start firing or reach the targeted point, they last for 80 seconds, after which time any that remain will retreat off map. They can contest territory points and benefit from buffs such as Designate Assault Position. Now switching over to the Field Ordnance side of the battle group, initially you have the choice between Artillery Observers and Ammunition Storage. If you select Artillery Observers, your scouts get upgraded. The squad size increases to 4 men, though you will have to reinforce existing scouts up to this, and each soldier has 10 extra health. Artillery Observers also get the same Garand as Pathfinders, which has better long-range accuracy than a Scout's, but in return for this extra strength, reinforcement costs increase by 1, and training an Artillery Observer is 180 manpower, 30 more than a Scout. Observers can construct an artillery radio beacon anywhere on the map for 50 manpower. The beacon starts on cooldown, but after 45 seconds it will automatically call in an artillery strike on an enemy that is inside its 45 range radius. These shells are low in damage, but fall quickly after the flare drop, meaning the enemy can't dodge them with a set-up team weapon. The beacon is quite fragile, but it is camouflaged with a 13 detection range and does not reveal itself to the enemy when its artillery starts to fall on them. The beacon provides no sight or detection to the player, but it will target enemies that are hidden in the fog of war. Nearby artillery observers can activate monitor on the beacon, which shortens the artillery cooldown to 20 seconds and increases the beacon's range by 15. One man is occupied with monitor duty, but the rest of the squad can fire at enemies. However, using other abilities like flares and smoke will interrupt the monitoring. If you select ammunition storage, engineers can construct an ammunition store for 125 manpower and 25 fuel. Friendly units within a 30 range radius benefit from a passive buff that improves rate of fire and shortens ability cooldowns. But be aware, the ammunition store explodes on death, doing mild damage to nearby units. Midway down the Field Ordnance side is the M2A1 105mm howitzer emplacement. Engineers can construct this for 400 manpower and 40 fuel. It occupies 12 population, and in the new 1.40 patch, you can no longer construct howitzers in your base sector, which now makes them vulnerable to off-map artillery strikes. The M2A1 has a 6 shell barrage, 160 damage each shell, and a 60-second cooldown. But to get the full picture of the M2A1's performance, we need to look at one of the final 2 Battlegroup options called Free Fire Drills. This allows the M2A1 to auto-fire out to 80 range, which is much shorter than the 250 range on the barrage. The M2A1 has a slow rate of fire while free firing, but the free fire timer and the barrage cooldown are independent of each other, so using one does not slow down the other. And combining the howitzer with an ammunition store is where it really shines. You have the choice between 2 Vet 1 abilities on the M2A1 howitzer. Charged shells that cause crew shock on vehicles when the howitzer's shells damage them. The vehicle moves at a reduced speed and cannot fire its weapons for 3 seconds. The charged shells also have a larger AoE radius. Charged shells do not apply to free fire. The other Vet 1 choice is artillery support. Infantry and team weapons that come within 30 range of the howitzer when it fires during a barrage get buffed, increasing their move speed. This lasts for 45 seconds, giving units plenty of time to make it to the front line. The other option in the final stage of field ordnance is 155mm rapid artillery barrage. This costs 150 munitions, and the first shell lands 5 seconds after activation, making it reasonable to dodge with infantry and vehicles, but very hard to avoid with set-up team weapons. A large number of 155mm shells fall in a relatively small area during the barrage, making it a great counter to enemy emplacements. Thanks for watching. Make sure to visit companyofheroes.com for more, and we'll see you on the battlefield.